shame a woman, they say she slept with too many men. To shame a man, they say he slept with a man. So clearly, society has decided sleeping with men is the embarrassing part.
For research purposes, is anyone actually in a healthy relationship where your man is not lusting over other women? He actually wants to make your life easier, isn't liking thirst traps with girls.
Okay, this might be a little too specific and you can't have mine, but find yourself a guy that's just a little bit on the spectrum, okay, to where you can tell, you don't need him tested, but you can tell. And number 2, this might be controversial and again, very specific, but find yourself a guy who is, yes, divorced, but his previous wife stabbed him. Hear me out. His tolerance for crazy is so freaking high that you can be down here. You can be a certain level of crazy, and at the end of the day, he's just happy if you didn't stab him. Number 3, gingers. They are a rare Pokemon, but not everyone's cup of tea. So on the spectrum and ginger, not everyone's going to want to dance that tango. It's all yours. And he knows not everyone's going to dance that tango. And again, you're not stabbing him. So he is 100% invested. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I haven't gotten my own water in like 5 years. And he would literally fight a T-Rex for me. So
there is an immense hypocrisy here. I'm old enough to remember those ads that started with, "You wouldn't steal a car." I went and watched the ad back there and it says, you wouldn't steal a car, you wouldn't steal a handbag, you wouldn't steal a television, you wouldn't steal a DVD, but downloading pirated films is stealing. And it finishes with, piracy, it's a crime. I remember what came after that, which was a furore around Napster, LimeWire, Pirate Bay. Ordinary people who downloaded an album or a video were demonised as pirates and threatened with court cases, fines, and even prison sentences. Even today, ordinary people can be criminalised if they download material illegally, as opposed to using legal streaming services. Because legal streaming services are epitomised by Spotify, whose whole business model is based on ripping off artists financially, which it is, and now, through generative AI, ripping off and copying their music and turning it into AI slop as well. So now we have a situation that big tech have effectively pirated pretty much the entire creative output of humanity. What's the official response? Are the big tech bosses being rounded up? Are they being arrested? Are they being told you wouldn't steal a car? Given that they've stolen effectively all of the music that has ever been created, ever. Talk about one rule for us and another for those at the top. Instead, we don't get that. We don't get any arrests. We don't get kicking down the doors of the big tech companies. Instead, we get world leaders and our own Taoiseach rabbiting on about a fourth industrial revolution that will change everything, that this is equivalent, as important as the printing press. And we need to recognise this as the pure corporate propaganda that it is and start asking who benefits from it. It's certainly not artists, it's certainly not musicians, and it won't benefit people generally either. This motion is right to warn that generative AI may lead to a decline in the quality of human cultural and creative production. I think the truth is that's already happening. The tech industry wants us to outsource our brains to AI, to let it do our thinking, our writing, our creating for us. It sounds to me like a very dystopian future that we should be doing everything in our power to avoid.
Okay, so these are automatic doors. They sense you coming, and they open to reveal a steel pole directly in your path. Yeah, I've walked into it 3 times. Oh, I should mention this is a hospital, so at least I'm already here.
Sister used to put a creepy-ass doll in the attic window and freak out the neighbor kid across the street because that kid was a dick. See, she was playing with it in the front yard, and this guy came out and said some stupid shit like dolls are dumb, and just grabbed it and threw it in the rain like the storm drain gutter thing. She told me what happened and then told me she needed the doll back, like, really bad. And I said, you got a lot of dolls. And she goes, no, I need this one back because I have a plan. Yeah, so after I had lowered her down into the storm drain by her feet and pulled her back up, we had this doll that was looking all ragged now, and she goes, all right, we got to get up in the attic. She put up a curtain over the window and then like a light behind the other side of the doll so that it would cast a shadow of its silhouette there. And then when she saw the kid across the street again, she kept messing with him and be like, Ashley didn't like getting thrown in the gutter. Ashley says she wants to show you what it's like down there in the dark. And then after she had done like different poses with the silhouette, you know, like holding weaponry and stuff, she had it wide open and put the doll's like both hands on the glass. And then when the kid came and knocked on our door because our parents weren't home, she's 90s, parents were never home. And she looked at me and she was like, stall and play dumb. And then she like took off running. So I answer the door, do what she says, and then the guy's like, I know this doll shit's not real. You guys are moving it, and it's total bullshit. You gotta stop. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he walks me out to the front yard to point at the window, and she had already moved it. It was gone. And he's like, your sister moved that. He freaked out a bit, but it wasn't enough for her. She decided to take it to the next level. She watched when they left, and they had a big old German Shepherd, so they had a very large dog door in the backyard. And what I didn't know is that she had been saving her bacon from like morning breakfast, and she brought that with her to distract the dog, and then went in through the dog door. She grabbed a big old kitchen knife, cut open this kid's pillow at the edge, and like stuffed her, the doll inside the pillow. And that night was a warm summer night, and nobody had AC in the area, so the windows were open, and we heard him screaming in the middle of the night. Then she was satisfied.
My wife's not trying to cheat on me. She's probably just autistic. We were at a party with some friends, and my buddy was like, I think your wife is trying to flirt with that guy. I didn't even have to look over. I knew 1,000% she wasn't flirting with that guy. He was like, they've been talking for like 5 minutes, and he's laughing a lot. I was like, yeah. Whenever she's talking to someone she just met, she doesn't know how to get out of the conversation because she's afraid of being rude. So she'll just gradually start saying weirder and weirder shit until they bail. But she's hot, so sometimes that takes a little longer. He's like, that doesn't bother you? Not at all. She doesn't even want to be here. I had to bribe her to get her to come. She wanted to stay home. Hopefully she drags it out long enough that he buys her a drink and we save a little bit of money.
Do you know what borders on stupidity? Canada and Mexico. It's a joke. Calm down.
Why do our wives refuse to get dessert alone? Why do you refuse to get dessert alone? Because you said you wanted dessert. She just said she wanted dessert. She's like, oh my God, I'm really in the mood for a waffle. And I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of good. I kind of want to just stay home. And what did you say?
I said, okay, I'm good then.
But I don't get, like, what's the science behind this? Because this is a common thing, I think.
I don't think you view it like I do. I view it like, oh, I really want a waffle. And then if you were like, okay, I'll go with you, even if you didn't get one. Like, I don't care if you don't get one. But, like, just going with you is fun. It's a fun experience. I get my waffle. We're together. And it's la lu 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 lu. You know what I mean? But like,
what if I'm straight-faced the entire time? And I don't say anything the entire time. Is it still a fun experience?
I just like being in your presence.
Okay, that's really sweet.
But if you're like, I don't want to get a waffle and I don't want to go with you, then I'm like, yeah, then I'm good. Like just going alone to get my waffle, and it just doesn't sound appeasing to me. That's not a good time, and I don't want the waffle bad enough to where I'd just be like.
But why is it desserts? It's specifically desserts because you've been hungry. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna grab some food. But then when it comes to dessert, if I don't want to go, you're like, I'm not going.
Because dessert is like, oh, let's get some. It's a fun experience. You can't wait to eat your dessert. So, like, the fun experience is made by being with you and going to get the dessert.
Okay, that's cute. Okay, that makes sense. Is this a common thing? Is this common, you think?
Yeah, I think extremely common. It's like with you or alone, and like I'm just like I'm good. Like going alone, I'm just like I'm literally good.
I need to know how many people also have do this. That's what I need to know.
It's tough getting older. Went into an antique store, they wouldn't let me leave. Last week I was on stage, they hit me with the spotlight and I started to walk towards it. I asked Siri a question about my life expectancy, and she changed the subject. There's some advantages to being my age. Frequently, people will stand and offer me their seat, which is great on the bus, a little creepy in the men's room. I can now ride the city buses of Houston for free. So, ladies, I can be anywhere in 4.5 hours. If you want to ride or die with me, you're going to need a bus pass. I have a hobby. I Google diseases and their symptoms. Evidently, I died 4 days ago. which makes this pretty fucking impressive.
You only have one parent, you only have one mom, you only have one dad, you only have one grandma, you only have and they only have one me.
Just like a house cat, a raccoon can make a soft purring sound when it's feeling relaxed and comfortable. Most people think raccoons only growl or chatter, but when they feel safe, they can produce gentle purr-like sounds that are surprisingly similar to a cat's. They're also incredibly curious animals. Their front paws contain thousands of sensitive nerve endings, allowing them to learn about objects by touching them. Instead of relying only on their eyesight, raccoons constantly feel, rub, and examine things with their hands before deciding whether they're safe to eat or worth investigating. That curiosity also makes them excellent problem solvers. They can open simple locks and remember how to solve difficult tasks even months later. Once they discover an easy way to get food, they're surprisingly unlikely to forget it. They're also remarkable climbers. Their flexible ankles can rotate almost 180 degrees, allowing them to climb down trees head first, something very few mammals can do with such ease. Despite their reputation as little troublemakers, raccoons are devoted mothers.
This right here is Down Detector. Lets you see if you're the only one having the problem or if it's the company's fault. But what happens if Down Detector goes down? Well, then I present to you Down Detector's Down Detector. All this website does is check whether Down Detector is down. But what if this website goes down? Then I present to you Down Detector's Down Detector's Down Detector. It does the exact same thing, except it detects if Down Detector's Down Detector is down. But what if Down Detector's Down Detector's Down Detector is down? Then I present to you Down Detector's Down Detector's Down Detector's Down Detector. This is the peak of comedy.
Okay, so yesterday my sister-in-law texted me this screenshot, which is basically, it's not even a screenshot, it's a picture of her television. She's watching that new Maternal Instincts documentary on Netflix. It's like #1 on Netflix right now. This is what she texted me. And she said, hey, I think this is you and Camille, which is my niece, her daughter. And I thought, no way, there's no way. So I went back to my Instagram and I looked up, we have a similar photo. So let me show you. Well, this is my Instagram photo of my niece and I, dated back in 2018. You can see the date down there. It's definitely us. And let me show you the photo that they put in their documentary again. Photo in the documentary. All they did was crop it a little bit and change, like, they put something over the shirts to make it look a little different. Very strange. The craziest part is none of us knew that they were using my photo for the documentary, and I'm trying to figure out how it got there. The whole thing just kind of caught me off guard. I'm not sure how photo licensing works with any of this stuff, but it just seems a little strange seeing as how my niece is a minor and was obviously a minor when the photo was taken. And nobody knew that her and I were going to be put on a public platform, a global platform. Has this happened to anybody else?
I'm going to tell you a story about what real growth in a man looks like. I'm pretty sure I've told this story before, like a long time ago when it first happened, but I've been thinking about it today. When my fiance and I first moved here, we went to Home Depot because we needed stuff for our move. And I just found the guy who was helping us to be so irritating. He was that subtle kind of sexist where even though I'm the handy person in the relationship and I was the one telling him what we needed, the sizing, all that stuff, he would only talk to Joe. Like I would say something to him and he would turn and say, like, ask Joe for more information. But at the same time, he was also like weirdly schmoozy. And I hate that shit because I dated a guy just like that for 5 fucking years and I see through that. And so because he was being sexist, like subtly sexist towards me, and because he was trying to be schmoozy with us, like as a couple, I was never rude, I was always polite, but I just started kind of like ignoring him a little bit. And so the less I gave him, the icier he got towards me. When we left, Joe was like, I really liked that guy. He was so nice, he was so friendly. And I said to him, I was like, well, I hated him. And Joe was like, why? So I explained to him how he was subtly sexist and that he barely said 2 words to me. And Joe chewed on that. And he was like, oh, I didn't even notice that. Or how, I forgot to mention, he shook Joe's hand and he didn't offer to shake my hand. I put my hand out and shook his hand, right? Things like that. And so Joe took that in, he chewed on it, he digested it. He was like, okay, I didn't notice that. And I said, that's because, you know, men don't really notice that kind of thing. So a few weeks later, we go back to the same Home Depot and the same guy ends up helping us. He recognizes us, we recognize him. There's a quick exchange. So this time, which he started the same behavior again, because of course he did. This time Joe gave him nothing. He was not nearly as friendly. He was like, would give 1-word answers. He would redirect him, you know, oh, Sophie's the one who is going to be doing that, so you should talk to them. So already I'm like, wow, he, you know, really took in what I said. He's paying attention. He sees what this guy is doing. This culminates in sort of a Ron Swanson moment of like, I know more than you. Sorry, unrelated. What the hell are my glasses doing to my face? That's from my glasses. Oh my God. Anyway, despite the information I give him, this guy hands me the wrong size screw. I'm very polite. I'm very respectful. I just say to him, oh, this is actually the wrong size. Here, I'm going to go grab the correct size. And I walk away. Joe and this employee follow me over and they're kind of standing like diagonally behind me so I can see them in my periphery. And this guy turns to Joe and says, I have a sister like that, you know, she's always got to be right. As if I'm some bitch for like correcting him because he brought me the wrong size. And my man looks at this guy, just absolutely deadpan, no expression, no facial movement, and says, what do you mean? And the employee goes, you know what I mean. And Joe says, no, actually, I don't. Can you explain it to me? It took everything in my power not to start laughing. I was literally like holding my breath listening to this interaction. This guy short circuits. I'm not kidding. He starts like it. And after like 5 seconds, like 5 whole seconds of him short circuiting like that, he just takes a breath. He goes, you know, honestly, man, I really don't know. I lost my train of thought. And for the rest of that shopping experience, the employee ignored Joe and only talked to me. He followed me around like a good little puppy dog. And he was nothing but placating and super nice, which I thought was hilarious. And then when we left, he went to shake Joe's hand. Again, he was gonna say, I put my hand out, and he did that thing. He squeezed my hand like, so ridiculous. He squeezed my hand really hard and made hard eye contact with me. Like, it felt very much like he was, you know, calling me a bitch with his eyes. Like he needed to put me in my place. Even though I wasn't the one who challenged him, Joe was. But he like felt the need to challenge me. He was so aggressive, which I met him. I didn't flinch. I met him at his hand. I have a very strong handshake, you know, so I met him at his grip. But I was like, are you serious? As soon as we left, I was like, thank you. I thanked Joe and I was like, wow, that was amazing. And Joe said to me, he said, yeah, I noticed this time. I remembered what you had said and I was paying attention and you were totally right. He was being such a jerk. When Joe and I first started seeing each other, I asked him if he was a feminist and he said no. He said no. Now, to be fair, he didn't really understand what feminism was. And that was a conversation we had too, where he said, no, I'm really not a feminist. And I explained to him what feminism was. And then he was like, oh, I guess I am a feminist. It's just that he is from an area where, let's just say, feminism is almost thrown around. Like, you know how people used gay in the 90s? Like, that's kind of how feminism is discussed. So the fact that Joe went from, I am not a feminist, to literally in the face of this misogynist who was committing several microaggressions against me, to doing that whole like, explain it to me, explain your racist, homophobic, misogynistic, etc. joke to me. And then I didn't ask him to do that he just did that of his own volition. Men, boys, you can learn, you can grow. And I compare this story to a story with my ex that I will never forget. We had to have our car towed. I don't remember why we had to have our car towed, but we ended up hanging out at like the tow facility. It was the middle of the night, so it was just the one guy. And this guy was sort of rednecky, hillbilly, and he kept using the F slur over and over and over again. And not only did my ex not say, hey man, that's not cool, don't say that, hey, you know, my partner is queer, please don't say that, he joined in. He like used it as an excuse to also say that word. When I confronted him on that later, and I was like, that made me really upset and uncomfortable, he basically was like, you know, I have social anxiety, and you know. But yeah, so, you know, going from that to this. And my ex always said he was a feminist. He's not. But going from that to this, yeah.
If you hate liberals, shouldn't you like abortion? Because isn't abortion just killing future liberal babies?
Alright, stop, ruminate, and spiral. Scary thoughts in your head going viral. Yeah, you probably have that rare disease and your friends all hate you for that thing you said last week. Will it ever stop? Well, I don't know, but I can disassociate like a pro to the ZAC to get my depression handled. Nervous system lit up like a trick candle. Damn, just accidentally read the news. More doom, disaster, and some poisonous mushrooms deadly. On replay in my memory. Can't sleep, need a bedtime story read to me. I am a baby and I'm afraid. So easily triggered, I feel like an AK. There's too many problems, I can't solve them. Gonna get drunk, hope somebody else resolves them. I'm worried.
What is attractive about boobs? What do you like about them? I would like to understand.
If I had known there were people out there in the world who didn't understand what is attractive about boobs, I would have realized I was queer so much sooner. They're boobs. They're boobs. They're boobs. They're boobs.
Nobody cares. Did you know that in the 15th century, Somalian Queen Arawella was the eldest daughter of a king? In her lifetime, she systematically reversed gender roles. She appointed women to political leadership and implemented severe laws against sexual violence, including hanging rapists by their testicles. Yeah. She also subjugated the male population by training women to be violent towards husbands and sons, ultimately castrating most men across the land, but spared a few to continue the bloodline. Gotta love a woman with interesting hobbies.
So my cousin gets bullied a lot because he has autism. He's further along on the spectrum, so kids don't really play nice with him. They call him weird and stuff. So I teach him insults. And what I mean by insults is like they're childlike. They don't have any curse words, so they kind of hurt more, especially if you are a full-grown adult. Now, I don't expect him to memorize any of these, but he remembers stuff so beautifully. It's very creative how he remembers stuff. And so the situation at hand is that he was playing with his friend, right? And the mother came over and she was talking to my aunt being like, oh, you let your kid do that? Oh, I can never. You let your kid do that? And so I overhear this. And number one, if you're a parent questioning how another parent parents their kid, it's probably because they don't want their kid to be anything like yours. Anyways, so I walk over there and I was like, hey, is everything okay? And she turns around and she goes, oh yeah, no, we're just having adult talk. You can go play. I am 24 years old, madam. I turn around and I go continue watching her kid while she day drinks, but I'm respectable. My cousin clocks this. So he walks over there, sees his mother practically in tears, and goes, which he says whenever he goes, he doesn't care. He calls it his power up mode. And I see this happen. I could have stopped it. But again, the adults were talking. I needed to go play. He goes over, grabs his mom's phone. He starts taking pictures of this lady at a downward angle. And she goes, ew, no, not a downward angle, ew. And he goes, oh, well, you're sure talking like you have the confidence to take pictures at a downward angle. So how about let's be a little bit more polite. Hands the phone back to his mother, says thank you, continues back playing. I'm dying on the floor, laughing. I didn't know this kid remembered that insult. I remember sending it to him like 5 months ago. He did it beautifully. And how he remembered it is he starts doing these finger taps and he's like, it's like I can recall the photo. And I just recite it like it's a play. Even her kid was laughing at her. That's how good the insult was. I am Frankenstein creating a monster more beautiful than Marilyn Monroe. It was beautiful execution. This is where I come in, because I still need to get my lick back. And so my baby cousin is turning around, walking away like it's an explosion and he just defeated the main villain. I'm on the floor dying laughing, because if you call me childish, I'll act childish. Her own kid is cackling. My aunt does one of these. She turns around and goes, oh, you're just gonna let your child talk to me like that? And she goes, you're just gonna drink my wine like that? And she goes, it doesn't matter. That wasn't even funny. I'll survive. And I look at her and I look at my baby cousin and I said, well, you know, even cockroaches would survive the end of the world. I turn around alongside my baby cousin. We're both walking away from this mad explosion. He turns at me, goes, write that down. And I have never seen that lady around my aunt ever again. And that just teaches you, don't question another person's parenting, because maybe the lessons that they taught their kids might come back to bite you in the butt. Having said that, make sure to eat, drink, as well as take your meds. I love you more. Make sure to love yourself, but most importantly, make sure to love your little monsters out there. Goodbye.
Right. Oh, well, hello. What are you doing in that? What's that gonna bloody do, though? Right, we're snipping around where the card is. Oh, something. Oh, you little show off. I see what you did. Well, that's not gonna bloody fit, is it? Right, cut it at an angle. And then again. Is that what that bloody ruler's used for? Because I never knew how to use it in school. Oh, the satisfaction of that. Slide right in me and call me daddy. I don't care. Okay. I always thought, what's this bloody ruler used for? Now I bloody know. Right. And then cut downwards. And literally that's it. That's all you've got to cut. Oh, we're pointing. In there. All right, go on. You saucy little bugger. Okay, well, how are you going to do this one? Oh, we've got another ruler. Just rulers coming out the bloody ear holes at the moment. I was going to say another word, but it's fine, you know. We don't talk about the downstairs area. It's fine. Oh, you saucy man, you. Okay, just keep going. I'm ready to watch this for another 60 seconds. Let's bloody go. 2 rulers at once. Now you're just treating us. Right, little scribble. I like how it just disappears and slides straight inside. Don't we all wish, love? Right, okay, we're cutting there. Oh, we've created like a little square. Okay. Oh, now it's like a little triangle, and now it's like a diamond. What the... Oh, it's a compass thing. Again, I know some of my friends that used to be quite dangerous at that in school. I'm telling you that thing was bloody sharp. It weren't a compass, was it? It might have been. I can't remember. You know what I'm talking about. It helps you draw circles. Right, okay. Ruler in the middle, ruler at the end. Cut all those bits out. Squiggle, squiggle, squiggle. Lovely. Out the way. Get out the way, Oh my. Okay, how are you going to do this one? That doesn't even look like it's even possible. What is he just used there then? There's no way that's going to fit. There's no way that's going to fit.
You know what I find so funny? Is when people are like, yo, for real? Your mom is gonna love me. Bro, your dad is gonna love... Yo, your friends, they're all gonna love me. I'm telling you. Cool, congratulations. But does my sister like you? Does my older sister like you? Okay, that bitch hates everybody. She barely likes me. Bitch, I barely made the cut. That bitch is HR. Okay? Deadass, when I was born, my older sister told my mom to take me back to the baby store. She didn't even like me. Bitch, I barely made the cut, right? So what I'm trying to say is, it don't really matter who likes you in my life. Does my older sister like you? And then when you figure out that my sister is probably not gonna like you, don't hit me with this bullshit. What does it matter if your sister doesn't like me? Like, we're the ones that are supposed to be, you know, dating and stuff. Like, does it matter? I mean, like, it actually kind of fucking matters because that's my sister, right? And it's not like she's just like my sister. I call her for everything. Like, before I make any decision, bitch, should I do this? Bitch, guess what just happened? Bitch, tell me why I just fucking farted. Bitch, like, she don't like you, it's not gonna work. So, good luck to you.
I just want to remind you that you can lie to a stranger as much as you want when they decide they want to get all up in your business.
And now for the comments. Someone said, smile. I said, my mother died this morning. As a matter of fact, every time I start a new job, I have 4 live grandparents magically. I was at the allergist for my baby who was allergic to dairy, and an old lady asked why he didn't have socks on, and I said, he's allergic to socks. That's why we're here. When I was very heavily pregnant, I got a small decaf coffee at Starbucks, and someone in line was appalled and told me it wasn't safe for pregnant women to be drinking coffee as it was bad for the baby. I put on my most offended face and told her I wasn't pregnant. My husband and I have started a rumor about ourselves that we sleep in bunk beds. You guys sound awesome. Once I was buying flowers at the grocery store, no reason. I just wanted flowers in my kitchen, and a guy behind said, oh no, what did you do? Apologizing with flowers? I made myself look as sad as possible and said, no, these were her favorite lilies. I'm just trying to keep her memory alive. When I was heavily pregnant, I turned to my husband in a crowded elevator and asked him when he was going to tell his wife about me. At the gym, I hear you'll lose that body after kids. I'm 26 with none, but I replied with, I actually already have 3. This silence was amazing. I ran into an ex I dated briefly 5 years before. I looked him dead in the face and told him I was named Sarah, and I had no idea who he was talking about. A woman kept asking me why I didn't have children. I told her after my 5th miscarriage I couldn't try anymore. I've never been pregnant and I don't want kids. I work in healthcare. Some days I'm married, some days I have 3 kids, and some days I'm single. A man asked me to name 5 songs from the band on my shirt. I looked at him and told him it was the last shirt my dad ever gave me. It was literally just the last shirt my dad gave me when I saw him last. He felt terrible. I felt fantastic. I missed the gym for 2 weeks. When I came back, everybody asked where I was. I said jail. Oh my God, are you pregnant? No, I have a tumor in my abdomen. One time I projectile vomited on the bus and I told the really nice old lady I was pregnant. I was actually hungover. I'm imagining that the vomit just smelled like tequila and that makes it so much funnier. I was hanging with my kid at the park the other day and someone made a comment about me babysitting, so I told them my wife died last week. I needed to cancel my gym membership a few years ago, but I had to do a bunch of steps in order to do it. So I just sent them an email saying I was my mom and that I had passed away. That did the trick. I tell every Uber driver I'm a divorce lawyer. You wouldn't believe how often my husband, who died in the line of duty, comes up when strangers make comments about my daughter's dad being absent. I am a lesbian. Whenever strangers ask my daughter's name, I tell them it's Richard. A coworker said something about me not standing for the pledge and I told her I was Canadian. I was walking onto a plane with my baby and a guy rolled his eyes and said, great, a baby. I looked at him and said, sorry, we're headed to my mom's funeral. She was actually the one picking us up on the other side. I was pregnant with twins and a lady put her paws on my belly at the grocery store and asked when I was due. I stared at her with 3rd trimester rage and said I wasn't pregnant. The look on her face. Also, don't put your hands on pregnant people. Boundaries still exist. Once had a man tell me to smile. It can't be that bad. I started crying. That made him uncomfortable. Same policy for salespeople. Selling a house thing, I rent. Selling a phone thing, I'm on my parents' plan. Selling a car thing, I don't have a license. My great grandmother used to say, if they're rude enough to ask, you can be rude enough to lie, and I still stand by it. The time someone rolled their eyes that I was using WIC as a newly single mom of 3, so I told them my husband died in the war, and this wasn't my first choice either. I had to cancel my beer subscription. I told them I'm an alcoholic, so they tried to sell their coffee subscription, so I told them I was losing my house due to my alcoholism, so coffee was the least of my concern. My husband regularly tells people I'm dead when they ask him in public if he's babysitting or giving mom a break. Was at the store with my son, who's 10. He said, Mom, and the lady in front of me turned around and said, did he just call you Mom? You look 15. And I said, I am. Strangers look at my husband and I and ask where my son got his size and height. We wince and tell them he's adopted and he didn't know, but now he does. My son is adopted, by the way. He just loves this game with strangers. When I was pregnant, I was asked if I knew who the father was. I said, still waiting on the test results, but me and my husband are really hopeful. I kept my hair in a pixie cut for years after chemo, and a lady said, I wish I was brave enough to cut my hair that short. And I said, oh, well, I was bald for a year, so I'm just happy to have this much hair. She was shook. It's been almost 15 years since I had breast cancer, but I have a lifetime pass to use it to my advantage. Yes, you fucking do. I foster kids and have 5 children of every age and race in my family. I always tell people they're all mine, then follow with, I think all my children look just like me. Every time I want to cancel a service, DirecTV, garbage, cell phone, whatever, I always tell them I was recently widowed and can't afford it anymore. Cry and everything on the phone. It makes them so uncomfortable they don't try to upsell me on discounted stuff and they immediately cancel. I can be off the phone in 10 minutes. Useful information, actually. I'm 6'3", and whenever a stranger comes up and asks me how tall I am, I say 5'11" every time and hold firm to that. I wonder how many men you've emasculated with this lie. When an employee asks if I want to sign up for a credit card, I tell them I'm 17 to avoid the sales pitch. I can't possibly believe it anymore, but I still do it. I put a Pepsi in my cart at the store and my baby was in the front of the cart. A lady stopped and gasped, I hope that's not for her, to which I replied, yeah, it is. We don't even bother with milk anymore. I was a pregnant surrogate one time and my husband and I were at the store and a random guy asked my husband if he was excited and my husband said, well, the baby's not even mine, so we're not keeping it. When people asked why I didn't breastfeed my baby, I told them that I lost my nipples in a freak car accident. I just say if you forgive me for not answering, I'll forgive you for asking.
Next time somebody tells you that you can catch more flies with honey than with vinegar, just kindly remind them that you can actually catch more flies with a corpse. If you were in the business of catching flies, a corpse would be a gold mine. Are you volunteering?
Last night I started watching Game of Thrones with my son. Nobody freak out. He's like 17, okay? So this is his first time watching it. And we got to the end of episode 2. First of all, watching him in physical distress the entire 2 episodes was really, really joyful. But my favorite thing is that we got to the end of episode 2 and he starts going, I hate this person. I hate this person. He goes, you know what? I'm making a list. I went, a list? You say? He goes, yeah. I'm making a list of everybody who sucks on this show, who I hope is gonna die. I'm like, you're making a list of all of the people that you hope will perish by the time this whole saga is over. And he's like, yeah, and Viserys is on that list, and Cersei's on that list. I said, Cersei's on the list that you're making of the people that... And I'm over here like, don't crack. And he's like... And he just starts going off on this whole list, you know, and he's like, Joffrey's on the list? I'm like, okay, sounds good. And then later on, we go later and we report to my co-parent, like, okay, so first 2 episodes of Game of Thrones are done. And I was like, he started making a list of the people he hates. He goes, a list? I said, and he starts kind of giggling a little bit too. And I was like, he's like, what? We're like, nothing. Very fun for me.
I used to believe all the stupidest people in the world were Americans. Now I know we have stupid Europeans too. They're just more boring. Stupid Americans say funny stuff like Jewish, space lasers, control or weather. All stupid Europeans say is, it's coming home. It's not. It went to buy a pack of cigarettes and never came back.